Hello and welcome everybody to this presentation of Rockschool. Let's go ahead and get started. What we'll cover today is about the program in general, the contemporary graded music exams for Rockschool specifically, who can participate, the flexibility for students and the different exam types, exam requirements, how to take an exam, what the levels are and materials that go along with that. There's some different options we'll cover, including the learning platform, which is super cool, the fees, and a little Q&A at the end if you have questions where to go and get some more additional information after this session. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in and learn more about Rockschool. RSL stands for Rockschool Limited. The Rockschool program was actually the original program, but then they developed more programs for other types of arts, such as dance, the creative media outlets, and things like that. So because they have these other programs, they decided to have a more overarching main name for the collection of all of these. So today we're going to focus on the Rockschool. If you are interested in any of these others, please go to their website and read all about it. There's a ton of resources. There's also other YouTube videos that may explain these other programs in a little more depth. But for today, let's focus on Rockschool and let's get a little bit of background about how it all started. About RSL, here we go. From a small office in West London in 1991, RSL Awards had a dream to change the landscape of formal music education and sought to become the first viable alternative to the traditional offerings available in Britain at the time. To simultaneously fill the void and satisfy a demand that they knew was out there, founders Norton York and Dr. Simon Pitt initially developed a guitar, bass, and drum syllabus for the contemporary musician. Rockschool began offering these exams in the summer of 1991, making it the world's first graded exam syllabus for popular music. RSL in the USA. RSL has developed positive and progressive relationships with music providers, institutions, and aspiring musicians throughout the world. RSL takes pride in delivering the most academically rigorous, industry-relevant qualifications that support the aspirations of all musicians, performers, educators, and teaching institutions. And our operations in the USA are no different. Contemporary graded music exams. Rockschool music qualifications are tailor-made for the contemporary musician. Ranging from introductory grades to advanced levels of study, RSL Awards graded music exams ensure hard work is rewarded regardless of age or previous musical experience. Whether you're taking your first steps on your instrument, moving into further higher education, or perfecting your advanced instrument technique, a Rockschool qualification will not only improve your playing ability, but expand your technical proficiency and give you a solid grasp of music theory, all while learning some of the most iconic tracks from the world of popular music. Who can participate? RSL is for any aspiring musician ready to level up their musical ability and performance skills by gaining valuable feedback from professional musicians outside their private lesson teacher and band director. Students may sign up for an exam once the required material according to the RSL syllabus is mastered by the student at the appropriate level. It is best to consult with your teacher directly about the appropriate exam level and requirements. RSL is designed for the contemporary musician. Therefore, the disciplines currently offered include electric guitar, drums, bass, acoustic guitar, piano, keyboard, vocals, music production, ukulele, music theory, group performance coming soon to the USA, classical piano, classical violin, and classical guitar. Just a couple of notes here about the difference between piano and keyboard. For example, piano includes the melody line written in the musical arrangements. The keyboard parts are more like chord comping and things like that you would do within a band. So it is best to explore those two separately to see which may be the best fit for you. Also, the classical books contain contemporary, quote, classical music, so that would include things like Broadway hits or movie themes, maybe even music from your favorite video games. That might be kind of fun. So check that that out for sure. More details on that are on their website specifically. Your teacher will let you know when a student is ready to sign up. Let's talk about some of the benefits to participating in these exams. There are many benefits. In fact, here are a few notable ones. Develop well-rounded musicianship skills. This means you can play an instrument, you can read music, you can hear music, and you understand what you're doing. Improve technical proficiency, performance skills, and theoretical understanding. Long-term goal setting, and this is super important. A lot of people don't have a long-term goal when they're taking music lessons. They're just kind of playing song to song, week to week. Setting a goal and sticking to it gives you a plan. It gives you something to work towards, which is critical to learning. We also learn through a structured program, which the Royal Conservatory program, RCM, has actually scientifically proven that a structured program is much more effective for learning than just kind of winging it week to week. Okay, monitor progress and level up. Oh, this is so important. Getting to the next level. Who doesn't like feeling that progression of moving up the ladder, getting to the next step? We do this in video games all the time. Level 1, level 2, we keep going. And monitor your progress. You can do that through this program. Give students a reason to practice. Oh my gosh, this is one of the first things that comes up when people are concerned about their lessons is, my child doesn't want to practice. Well, of course they don't, because who wants to sit there and play scales and lots of long notes and stuff? But those are the things you have to do in order to get better. So by setting that goal, by having something to work towards, students have a reason to be practicing, and they will practice more. We'll get into this a little bit more later in the talk, but this is a big one. Student recognition for their accomplishments, another big one. You want to feel good about what you've been working towards, right? And there is recognition in the form of an e-certificate that you receive once you've completed an exam. So there is recognition in that way. Here at Little School of Music, we also have other recognition systems in place as well that this directly falls right into. Build student character, dedication, confidence, responsibility, and strong work ethic. This is huge. By doing all of this stuff, structured program, setting goals, working towards a goal, you're not only learning music, you're learning all of these life skills and these student character traits that are so critical beyond the music and for life. These are huge, especially the work ethic. I've seen so many kids, they just kind of try to do the bare minimum to pass. Let's strive for something more. See if you can really put your best foot forward. Learn as much as you can. Dive deeper into the music. Expand your knowledge of something. Really become like the expert in it, regardless of what level you're at. Be the expert in that level. And that's what we try to strive with our students, is to really pull that out of them. Make the most of it. This also helps for college applications, awards, and honors. College applications, honors, and awards that you can put on your applications for college. Not only just, okay, I got level 8 and I passed, but if you put on there that you received level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, all the way through level 8, that shows a lot of dedication. That shows a lot of history to continuously striving to do your best. Not just one time, but for 8 years or for 6 years, you were dedicated in this program and you did your best. And here's the result, the results of the work. So those college applications definitely will have a shining star on there if you are in this program and continuously. Relatable contemporary music styles, and it is flexible, very flexible. We'll talk about this in a little bit too. But just having contemporary music at the forefront of this program is huge. It's what the kids love. It's what we love. We love listening to the songs we know, what we hear on the radio or on our iPods, or who has an iPod anymore, on our streaming platforms and whatever. You can play these contemporary pieces that you love so much in these exams, and that's the whole point. It's really cool. Online learning platform access. This is huge too. I mean, all of these points are huge. At-home practice assistant is really what it is. You can really dive into this a little bit more later, but it's basically a tool where the kids go online and they can have assistance with practicing through the software, which tells them if they've played at the right time or with the right pitch and things like that, to help them to be able to practice their music more accurately and then come back to their lessons even better prepared. So this one's really cool. Get to know some of the most iconic tracks and genres from around the world. This is big too. I mean, somebody may be into reggae music, or they may be into bluegrass or something like that. All genres are acceptable from all over the world. You can pick as part of the repertoire. So there's a lot of flexibility as well in the selections that you're able to include in your requirements. And there may be more. Talk to your teacher about additional benefits that will directly impact you. Let's take a closer look at the graded music exams. RSL Awards graded music exams motivate and encourage musicians of all ages and abilities through a system of progressive mastery. From our introductory grades all the way through grade 8, these graded qualifications enable candidates to develop and enhance their musical skills, knowledge, and understanding in an exciting, engaging, and consistent manner. We want you to be as comfortable as possible, however and wherever you take your graded music exam. You are in complete control, with RSL Awards allowing you to tailor your perfect exam day. The RSL Books. The RSL Books contain everything you need for a well-rounded learning experience. You only need one book per instrument level. As you go through the levels, you need a new book, obviously, because there's new stuff to learn. So each book contains the level graded pieces, technical exercises, supporting tests, information about the exams themselves. That includes how to enter the exam, the syllabus guides, performance and technical guidance, marking how they score the exams, and additional information, including notation for that instrument, copyright information, the RSL popular music theory correlations, and digital downloads. Those are the audio tracks. There's one that includes your part, so you can hear how it's supposed to sound, and there's another track that does not include your part, and that track you need to have ready to go for your exam, because you do play along to the backup tracks when there is one to play along with in the exam. So that's something that you may want to note. The high-quality professional recorded digital music tracks provided by RSL are specific to the music arrangements in the books. And you'll notice that in some grades, it's not the full song, it's an arrangement of the song, basically to kind of hit the main points of the music and what you're learning. So those arrangements are slightly different than some of the original recordings. So check that out carefully. All right, there are some different resources to access the content in these books. There are physically printed books, like the one you kind of see in the background on this picture here. And inside the book is everything you need to fulfill the requirements for the level. You don't even need anything else, just the book. That's it. You can definitely fulfill everything with that. There's other things you can add to it if you feel you want a little more flexibility and personalization to your exam, but it's not necessarily required. Also included in the printed book is, on the inside cover, a link and code to all of the audio tracks. So you have access to those that correlate with those exact songs in that book. Okay, something else available is the digital download. So this is basically the exact same thing as the printed book, except instead of getting a physical copy, it's a download and you can have it on your computer in 2 seconds and just print out what you need at home, or use a device to look at the music right there on your, at the convenience of your computer or your iPad or whatever your phone. You can take a look at the music right there digitally. And there's the learning platform. This is where you get immediate access to the entire Rockschool library. That's all instruments and levels, all in one place. Drums, guitar, piano, voice, everything from debut through level 8. It includes all the music and all digital audio tracks. Students follow assignments set by teachers in the learning platform. You can set practice goals, customize practicing sessions to fit the student needs by changing tempos, setting specific practice sections, and a lot more. Students get immediate performance feedback from the software to assist with making good progress. It can tell you if you played at the right time or if you're out of tune, stuff like that. Teachers can also see the student practice details, so your teachers know if you've been practicing or not. Students can record themselves either audio and or with video. That can be really helpful too, to see the playing technique that somebody's using, checking for those curved fingers or looking for proper drum sticking techniques. And you can send those videos and audio tracks to your teacher. Pretty cool, pretty cool. And just to help you out, just to get a little sample of what all this stuff is, there are sample packs available for download. So you can check that out on their website. There's a preview included in those sample packs of every book and every level. So you can see the progression, just kind of like a quick glimpse from step by step as you go level to level. The audio tracks are not included in the sample pack, but you can see the overall kind of gist of it. This can be a very helpful overview for teachers and parents to understand the progression of the program with the book examples all in one resource. It may also be handy for a reference. Maybe you know someone else who might be interested in getting into the program. You could refer this little sample pack to them. It does have some of the things we're talking about in this presentation in there as well. And you can always refer to the official RSL syllabus for the complete exam requirements. Do that. Don't just rely on this sample pack. You need to have that syllabus so you know exactly the details of what you should do for the exam. So I just want to make that note. Don't just rely on the sample pack. This is just so you have an idea of kind of what's included and get a general overview. It's not the detail. Okay, so here are the learning outcomes. Of course, we went over the benefits a little bit, but this is what RSL is really hoping students will get from this program musically from taking these exams. Number 1, perform music in a popular music style. Of course, many styles. Command of the instrument. You really have control of what you're doing when you're playing. Sync or pulse. That's the rhythm and the tempo, making sure you're really accurate with timing. Accuracy and understanding of music. Style and expression. Number 2, demonstrate technical ability. Command of your instrument again, and sync and pulse, making sure that your timing is just right. Accuracy and understanding of those technical skills. And then 3, demonstrate musical understanding. And these are in the exam called unseen tests. This includes sight reading, being able to improvise, and in upper levels from 6 to 8, they call this quick study pieces. That's sort of a combination of the sight reading improv. And then there's ear tests and general musicianship questions. Now, there's a little description here on the side what this stuff means. Command of instrument, the quality of the sound, including consistency and tone production. The pulse or the sync, that's the alignment of playing with the backing track, like with a metronome. Or if you play by yourself and you don't have anything with you, no accompaniment, no metronome, nothing, you better be able to keep the tempo steady. So that's what they're talking about. Internal pulse is you're able to keep the beat on your own steadily for those solo pieces. Accuracy and understanding is to follow and appropriately interpret the written notation. Secure understanding of musical structure through transitions of phrases and sections. So you really understand like the feeling of the music, sort of the conversations that happen in the music, the storytelling aspects, and that you're following it accurately as to what the composer intended. Style and expression, and expressive and commanding performance, and the noted material by the demands of the performance piece. So, did you really sell it? Did you put your full self forward and really give us an experience? Did you give yourself an experience? Did you express what that music and what that style is all about? Did it come through in your playing? So that's basically what the test or what the exam is covering, all of these different elements like this. So for the exam, the examiners have a digital marking sheet, and this is how they keep track of all of those different elements and how they score you in those different areas. So they call it bands of assessment, and that is basically the rating of your overall performance. Pass, merit, and distinction. That's the top. Distinction is at the top. Assessment criteria is, again, command of your instrument, the sync or pulse, accuracy and understanding, style and expression, and the digital marking sheet, pass, merit, distinction for each criteria. So all of those different areas are individually scored, and then there is an overall mark for each piece, technical exercise, and the unseen tests. The written, typed up, or verbal feedback, in some cases they may even give you a videoed reply feedback, which is kind of cool. What will be included are examiner comments on what went well, some suggestions of how you can improve, and what the next steps are for moving into the next level. I mentioned this a little earlier, but just to kind of highlight this again, the e-certificate is awarded to students once they've completed and passed their exam. So exam results are available about 3 weeks from the exam date, maybe a little sooner depending on how busy things are. Students will receive an e-certificate to celebrate their accomplishment. This is more eco-friendly, helping the environment, and cuts back on costs to run the RSL program. E-certificates are quick and easy to access, representing your credentials in a straightforward manner. An online validation via QR code proves the authenticity of the certificate. Okay, we're going to zoom in a little bit on the exam requirements. They're basically broken into 3 sections, the first one being performance pieces and repertoire. This is 60% of the exam. It includes benchmarked repertoire, adapted repertoire, and free choice pieces. The second part would be the technical tests. This is 15% of the exam. It includes things like scales, arpeggios, intervals, chords, rudiments, stylistic studies, and technical studies. And then the third part would be the unseen tests. This is 25% of the exam. It includes sight reading or improvisation and interpretation, quick study pieces for levels 6 to 8, ear tests, and general musicianship questions. Performance pieces and repertoire. Number 1, benchmarked repertoire. Pieces suitable for use in your exam without prior checks. These are directly from the syllabus. Pieces are available in the Rockschool Book series, the RSL graded books. So if you pick something from the book, you're good to go. The vocal selections may be transposed, or in other words, you can change the key to better fit your voice if you'd like, and there is no maximum number restriction. You could pick all of your songs from the book and you're good to go. Number 2, adapted repertoire. Current syllabus material which has been changed or adapted by the candidate. Alternate backing tracks, accompaniment from the one set by RSL, current RSL gradebook pieces set at a different, lower or higher grade than the same syllabus or from a different syllabus. Music from an outgoing syllabus during a transition year when a new syllabus is introduced. Usually there's a 1-year kind of crossover. And then there is no maximum number to these types of pieces where you're taking it from the book and just adapting it somehow. And finally, free choice pieces. Yay! Ba-ba-da-ba-ba! This is cool. You get to pick basically any song you want, as long as it fulfills all the requirements from the level and is correlating with other songs that are in the level, you're good. These can be accredited free choice pieces, like something from before in the RSL syllabus, maybe something from an older book or something. Non-accredited free choice pieces, that would include something maybe from a different book or a different version of a song, similar. Original compositions, that's pretty cool. Like you could write your own song if it's fulfilling the requirements of the level. Or any other piece or song you can pick. It's like wide open. You've got choices here. However, there is a maximum. For a graded exam, you can have, or the digital graded certificate, you can have 2 free choice pieces. So you just need to have 1 that's from the book. Okay? Performance certificate, you can have 3 free choice pieces. There's a total of 5 songs that are required for a performance certificate, so 2 of them must be from the book. Okay, there's a lot of flexibility here. Again, any style is welcome. Technical exercises. These are divided into groups. In each book, you'll see what those groups are. And in the syllabus, that's probably the best place to see these. But for example, piano or keys, guitar, bass, and ukulele, there's different groups. Group A are all the scale requirements. Group B are arpeggios. Group C, intervals, chords, and chord voicings. You won't see all of those in one level. It'll be like intervals in the earlier levels. And as you go through the program, you'll see more with chord voicings because that's more appropriate at the intermediate, more advanced levels. And technical studies, stylistic studies, that'd be like Group D, all contained within these technical exercises. So you kind of have an idea of how they're categorized, even within the technical category itself. They are kind of subdivided into smaller groups. Same thing for drums, voice. There's very specific kind of groups of technical exercises just to help organize the program a little bit so you kind of know the different areas that you'll be studying. And technical skills are gradually modified and added level by level to build a strong playing foundation. Even if you're not going to be taking the exam in the technical exercises, if you're specifically doing the performance certificate, you should still be practicing the technical exercises. So this is fundamental to really accomplishing the goals, accomplishing the mastery of the level. You do need to do these things. Whether or not you're taking the assessment to be, graded in these areas is up to you, but definitely take these things to heart because it is at the core of your skills and ability and understanding. So technical exercises, have fun with these. And lastly, the unseen tests. With a firm focus on cohesion and consistency at the forefront of any release, the Rockschool method is a musical pedagogy that we hope contributes to the production of confident, self-sufficient musicians, empowered with the knowledge and ability to see their musical decisions blossom into an authentic musical expression. The first part would be sight reading. Students play a musical excerpt from given music provided by the examiner at the exam. This is music they've never seen or heard before, and they need to be able to look at the music and play it. Improvisation and interpretation. Okay, what is improvisation? Improvisation's when you get to just make it up. That's kind of cool, right? Just go bang on the piano. No, it's not just banging on the piano or just strumming randomly on your guitar. There's a set of guidelines. There's chords given with a certain time frame. There's definitely a structure in place, and you use that as a tool to be able to make up your own melody lines. So this is something you would need to practice with a teacher to really make sure you're comfortable following that kind of set of guidelines in an improvisation. It's not very long. It's just a short example, but it is something that you would want to work on. And it is a very valuable skill in many regards, and that might be something you want to explore with your private teacher as well. For the exam, you can select sight reading or improvisation. So students may opt to perform a short improvisation instead of the sight reading requirement. Kind of cool. Just a quick note, because of the next thing coming up, the quick study piece. What you might want to do in the earlier exams is alternate one level sight reading, one level, or the next level improvisation, and keep alternating, because this next one, number 3, the quick study piece from grades 6 to 8, is a performance of a given lead sheet where students have to develop a theme. You have to make up a tune, basically, or make up some kind of part to go into the song. And you have to use correct stylings, so understanding about the rhythm and the feel, particular scales that may be appropriate, and adding ad-libs or like little made-up parts to a backing track. So you're going to have a music playing in the background. You're going to have this music in front of you that you need to follow and interpret, and part of it is improvised or made up, and part of it is reading the music. So it's sort of a hybrid. It's a combination of the sight reading and the improv together. So that's why I'm suggesting, you don't have to, but I'm suggesting do the sight reading and do the improv, because later you're going to have to mesh them together, okay? It's all in the best interest of the student and developing your skills. So it wouldn't be here if it wasn't important. Go for it. Do your best. Again, it's just what do you want to be assessed in for the exam, but it doesn't mean you don't practice it. Make sure you're practicing these skills regardless. Okay, next we have ear tests. These are the playback recognition and or recall of rhythms, melodies, or harmonies, depending on your instrument and level. And also rhythmic groove recall. That's kind of cool. The drummers get to do some cool stuff. Playing back a rhythm or a groove pattern that you hear. So some examples of these might be the examiner plays a rhythm, and you have to pick out which rhythm you hear from some that have been given to you to choose from. Or they might play something for you to play back. So in this example of the groove pattern, you'll hear the groove pattern, and then on the drums, you figure out what groove pattern that is and then play it back. So these are some examples of listening to something and interpreting what you're hearing and then executing somehow, either identifying or playing back what you've heard. And the last part here is the general musicianship questions. I really love this part. I think it's really cool because it really kind of ties it all together and makes us think a little bit about who's behind this stuff. Where did the music come from? A little bit about your instrument specifics too. I kind of like that. So it includes music knowledge, questions about the music performed for musical understanding, like, who wrote the song and when was the song written? What was it about? All that kind of stuff. And also instrument knowledge, questions about the instrument or gear specific for your instrument. For example, if you play electric guitar, you need to know how to set up your amp properly to get a good tone. So you need to know what is mids, treble, bass, what is all that? And how do I plug it in properly? And all of that setup stuff. It's important because you need to know that in order to be able to get the instrument working right and sounding good. So I really like this section of general musicianship questions. It just makes us kind of dive into the music a little more deeply and understand the people and the sound sources, I guess you could say, the sound makers that make it really happen and give it its special charm, its special sound, its special kind of style. So this is really interesting. The information for the songs in the book is in the book, so you can already have it right there in front of you. Read up on it. If it's a song of your choice or a song you wrote, maybe be prepared to talk about how you wrote it or what your inspiration was for that composition. Or if it's a piece outside the book that you didn't write, do some research. Find out who wrote it, who wrote the song, when was it performed, what's special about that song. Kind of dive in a little bit about some of those details, and you'll find you probably connect with the music more and you're going to enjoy it more because you know more about it and the people that made it. Okay, so you're going to take the exam and you want to know, well, what comes first? So this is the examination structure. It'll start off with either performance pieces or technical exercises. It's your choice which you want to play first, but these would be the two things that are at the beginning of the exam. Following that would be the sight reading or improvisation, or the quick study piece if you're in the upper levels. After that would be the ear tests, followed by the general musicianship questions at the end. So we know what's included in the exam, but here are the different exam types. This is really interesting because I think it really caters to different scenarios depending on what you're trying to accomplish. For example, if you want more of an audition style exam or a more well-rounded exam, or feedback just on your performance, maybe you have a big show coming up or something and you just want to go through all the songs. There's a lot of scenarios that fit into these exam types, which I think is really valuable and a really cool way to do it. So here's what they are. Number 1, graded exam. This is probably the most popular of the exams because it includes everything. 3 repertoire pieces, a selection of technical exercises, sight reading or improvisation, or the quick study piece, ear tests, and the general musicianship questions, as we saw in the previous slide that had everything in order. That's the one, the graded exam. Next would be a graded certificate. This includes 3 repertoire pieces and all of the technical exercises that are included in the specific graded certificate technical list. So there's no sight reading, no improv, no ear tests, and no general musicianship questions. And then the third one is performance certificate. 5 repertoire pieces, no technique, no sight reading, no ear tests, no general musicianship questions, nothing. You're just going to play your songs right down, just like if you were in a show. You're going to play 5 songs straight down. There you go. It's your set list. The graded certificate may be kind of more like an audition style exam. And the graded exam would be like, the overall, how am I doing with my studies in all my areas that I want to check up on. So those are the 3 different exam types. Let's take a look at the timing of these exams. Okay, examination timing. Here it is kind of charted out by the type of exam. If you're in a graded exam type, the debut level is about 15 minutes. As you work your way through the grades, there is more time added because there's more to cover, there's more complex music, and it just takes longer to get through the material. So by grade 6 through 8, you're at about 30 minutes there for your exam. The other ones are pretty comparable, right around the same timing, performance certificate and graded certificate. So it's not super long. It's not like an all-day test or something. You're in there, you do your thing, and that's it. You get your feedback. So it's pretty straightforward. We have different exam types, but there's also different options for actually taking the exam. But it does depend on what type of exam you want to do. And there's some reasons for that. First, we have the face-to-face exam. The ones that are offered for this are the graded exam and performance certificate. If you'd like to do your exam online but live, the live stream digital exam that is offered as well for graded exams and performance certificates. And the third way to take the exam is by a recorded digital exam. That's a pre-recorded exam that you do on your own and submit. And what's offered for that is the graded certificate and performance certificate. Face-to-face exams. Let's talk a little bit more about this. RSL Awards' comprehensive range of syllabus materials provide every candidate with the practical skills and theoretical understanding necessary to perform the highest level across a broad range of repertoire. Each student can develop a level of musicianship which will support them in almost any musical environment, whilst enabling both teacher and student to choose their own area of specialism as they move through each syllabus. Our face-to-face exam options means that candidates can enter an exam at a public exam center made up of any combination of instruments from both our Rockschool and RSL classical syllabus materials. I just want to add a little something here. Little School of Music is also the founding school and assessment center for the Royal Conservatory Certificate Program here in Santa Clarita. And through our experience and asking the students and parents about the face-to-face or in-person exams and the difference between that and online, they all prefer face-to-face, especially after having not been around a lot of people for a while. We all know about that. Being in a face-to-face environment, having to perform under pressure in that environment is a lot different. Different feel, getting dressed up and going somewhere, or, wearing your cool clothes or whatever it is to really get into the part, put your rock and roll outfit on, and go play. Whatever that is, you just feel different when you go somewhere and you do it. Kind of like if you're interviewing for a job, you might have a video conference or something, but ultimately, there may be a face-to-face interaction there. So the more often I think you can get yourself in the position where you're meeting face-to-face and having that real life, feel to what it is you're experiencing and what it is you're doing, I would take advantage of that. So it might be something to consider. I mean, there are reasons why you may need to do it online and stuff like that, and it's totally fine, depending on what your goals and purposes are. But the face-to-face exam is an opportunity just to put yourself into that position, to practice that, to be in real life under pressure, performing, and have that under your belt, like get more comfortable with that. So consider that as you're making these decisions. What is the extent of this? What is the extra learning that I may gain from doing it this way versus that way? Live stream digital exams. We're delighted to be able to bring the full RSL Awards graded exam experience to your front room, digitally in real time. RSL's live stream digital exams allow an examiner to be beamed from a remote location directly to the candidate via live stream, giving every candidate the opportunity to demonstrate their musical learning irrespective of their geographical location. We're building our ethos of delivering accessible and outstanding examination experiences by enabling candidates to enjoy the exam experience via live stream. The live stream digital exams are basically the same format as the face-to-face exam offerings, except for you're online. You'll want to make sure your camera angles are correct and you have microphones and all of your equipment set up ahead of time. And you'll also want to check the audio settings to make sure you get the best audio sound possible for an online experience. There are guidelines in the RSL information that will help you with all of these different setup options. Recorded digital exams. At RSL Awards, we pride ourselves in the trust and confidence that our dedicated community has in us to deliver outstanding examination experiences. We're taking this a step farther, and we're delighted to announce the launch of our recorded digital exams. Environmentally friendly, no waiting times, reduced stress, and available worldwide, this digital solution shows our commitment to providing the most accessible exam experience possible. Recorded digital exams are offered for the Performance Certificate and Grade Certificate options. The Performance Certificate is when you play 5 repertoire pieces back-to-back, and the Grade Certificate is 3 repertoire pieces plus all of the technique. There are guidelines as to how to make your recording so that the examiner can see what they need to see and also hear what they need to hear clearly. You'll want to make sure all of your equipment is ready, your instrument is tuned, your music is on the stand, backup tracks are queued up and ready to go so that everything runs smoothly when you're doing your recording. You are allowed to have someone there helping you to push play for the backup tracks and make sure that the camera's operated properly, but you can't have any edits or stops in the video. So make sure that when you're doing your recording, you're going straight through the whole thing. No edits, no camera angle changes, no cuts, nothing like that. So please take a look at those recorded digital exam guidelines. There is a whole packet with information about how to set it up properly so that you do it exactly the right way. In fact, there's a really cool example of this little guy in grade 5 who's 9 years old. I think you're going to enjoy this one. He's really practiced and he's having tons of fun. Check it out. Getting started. Okay, first thing you'll want to do is consult with your teacher. You need to determine what current level you're in, what exam would be best for what your goals are, and make a plan to set a timeline for taking the exam. That way you have plenty of time to prepare and you're not rushing through material or feeling under any kind of unnecessary pressure. The second thing you'll want to do, and this is really important, is commit to the program. And guys, you got to practice. Okay, do it. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But set a reasonable exam goal and stick to it. Practice how and what your teacher assigns you. You also need to make sure you've purchased the book, and that could be either the hard copy, the digital copy, or the learning platform subscription. These are all available through the RSL website, so check that out. You also need to make sure you connect to the learning platform. If you have subscribed to it, you can connect with your teacher. Just create an account, subscribe, get everything set up with your teacher using their email, and you'll be set to go. You can connect on there. And once you're ready to go and your teacher has given you the green light that it's time, sign up for that exam. It's offered 3 times per year, February, May, and October. So when you're ready, there should be an exam just right around the corner. Check the website for specific dates so you know exactly when registration's open. And if you subscribe to the email list through RSL Awards, they'll send you email reminders too, so you know when registration's about to open, when it's going to close, and all of that. So it might be a good idea to subscribe to the email list through the RSL Awards website. Commit and practice. Let's talk about some of the responsibilities we have as we work through this together. Teachers, students, and parents, we all have a role to play. So let's talk about that. Teachers guide students through the required material according to the RSL syllabus to help prepare them for the exam. This includes understanding the syllabus, the exam process, the equipment and the setup, having the necessary materials, and understanding the exam expectations. Teachers really need to study the syllabus. There's a lot of details in there, and it is your responsibility to make sure the students are completely prepared and in the right way to be able to take this exam successfully. Students commit to the program and follow the weekly assignments from their teacher, including practice reps and time. Making time to practice consistently at home is the only way students will be sufficiently prepared for the exam. Lesson time alone is not enough. Okay, parents. Parents play a huge supportive role by helping students schedule consistent practice times throughout the week in a quiet and comfortable space, showing an interest in what the student is learning, even if you don't understand it, and encouraging them to keep putting their best foot forward, purchasing the necessary materials, instruments, and gear needed to perform the music, and payment of the exam fees. I just wanted to talk about practice a little bit for a second. Just to make it clear that a lot of times kids don't just go practice on their own, and there's many reasons for that. I've had students tell me they weren't sure if they were allowed to practice, they weren't sure when it was okay to practice, or somebody was watching TV and they didn't want to disturb them, or they had to go to the store and so they couldn't practice, or they had soccer practice and they couldn't practice. So I think the kids sometimes have a disconnect with actual time, right? And so that's where the parents can really help out. Parents, if you can tell the kids it's okay to practice during these times, right after school, maybe just before dinner, maybe just before bed, maybe when you first wake up in the morning, etc. Okay, let them know when it's okay to practice and schedule that into their day. You will probably need to remind them until they start getting into a routine. Kids love routine, they love structure, they love to know what is next. So give it to them. Don't expect that they're going to just do this magically on their own. It won't happen. So go ahead and set it up for them. Structure it, show them where they can be, maybe set up your own cool music studio at home, or have a special dedicated room for music if you can, or even like a music corner in that child's room. It can really make a big difference how you approach all of this. And then that support, that sounded really good. Can you play that song for me again? I really like that one. Oh, that was one of my favorite songs when I was growing up as a kid. Those kinds of things get the kids excited about playing. They see that you're pleased. They see that you're happy. They want to do it more. And so that's how, as a parent, you can support at home. And you are with the kids every day of the week. The teachers see the kids one day, but not even a day. It's like an hour maybe, or half an hour. You're with them so much of the time, and it's really critical to be there and give this support, and especially with the practice time. The space is also really important too with practice, because not every child is comfortable playing and making mistakes and a whole bunch of noise in the middle of the house with everyone listening. I was one of those kids growing up. I know what that feels like. You feel like, I don't want anyone to hear my mistakes. I don't want anyone to say anything because I'm working on it. I'm practicing. That's the whole point. You're not supposed to sound good when you practice. If you sound good when you practice, you're not really practicing anything. You're doing a run through, or you're performing, really. If you're practicing, you kind of have bobbles here and there because you're making mistakes, and that's what you're correcting as you're practicing. Therefore, you are improving. Hopefully, you're correcting the mistakes and getting through some material that, is challenging. That's the whole point of it. Of course, you want to sound good at some point so you can prove to yourself that you can play through the piece, accurately and all of that, of course. But true practice, you're going to have those bobbles. And so, yeah, you can do it. Oh, I heard some improvement this week. You're sounding better. These are the kinds of things students need to hear from parents. If parents start directing or teaching students at home, it can also become a conflict because the teachers have given specific practice instructions. And sometimes parents are trying to help and they'll say something, but it may be contradictory or conflicting with what the teacher said. And so the students can become confused and frustrated. And as well, teachers can too, because it's like, well, I actually had told them to do it this way. So read the directions carefully. Teachers generally take really good lesson notes. Sometimes they have lesson videos that you can watch that are very helpful, valuable tools you can rewind and watch over and over again. So use these tools from your teacher. Make sure you're following what the teacher has outlined if you are going to help reinforce what is being taught in that way, just so there aren't any contradictions anywhere. The teachers have laid out the plan, and so trust them. They're the professionals. They've been doing this a long time. They can see and foresee what's going to come next. And so trust them. Go with it. If you went to a doctor, you would probably follow what they said too, right? You're going to need surgery, or no, here, you'll be okay if you put ice on it. Okay, good. Follow their instructions. It's the same idea, right? This practicing thing comes up quite a bit. And if you ever have any question or have trouble, consult with your teacher. Just go right to them. They're there to help you. And there should not be any fear there to approach your teacher and talk to them about anything. That's what they're for. Email them, send them a message to tell them, this is what's going on. I just want to make sure that we're doing things correctly, blah, blah, blah. That communication is critical. And the student is the one who will benefit the most from that. So keep that open line continuing as you go through this process. And of course, enjoy the process, enjoy the practice, enjoy what you're learning about. Of course, there's going to be work. Okay. There's ups and downs with anything new you're learning. Even as a professional, there's ups and downs as you continue to perfect your craft and get to the next level. It never ends. You're always learning. But if it's a down motion, it's even more important to push through that to get up to a higher point, right? In the chart of your education as you go along. It's up and down and up and down. But over time, it's up, 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 up when you zoom out, right? Zoom out, look at the big chart. So keep going, stay committed, fulfill your commitment. That's also a huge life lesson to learn is I've set this commitment. I'm going to work for it. I'm going to achieve this. And then once you got there, it feels good and you have something to show for it. And you can decide what are the next steps now moving forward from here. And these are, again, things you want to talk with your teacher about. So sorry for getting on my soapbox for a second, but I just want to address this because it comes up so much. And one other thing really quick, the most important days to practice. Every music teacher's dream, probably every parent's dream too, is that students will practice every single day. It would be amazing. And if you do that, you are a superstar if you can get on the instrument every day. In some cases, it is necessary if you're, pursuing this as a career or something like that. However, here's the reality. In real life, you have your lesson, of course, every week. It's critical that you attend that. The most important day to practice is either the day of your lesson, if it's early enough in the day. If not, it's okay. But probably the most important is the very next day after your lesson. And that's because everything's fresh in your mind. You just had your lesson. You'll remember what the teacher talked about and all that stuff. You want to review it right away, the very next day. The second most important day to practice is the day just before your lesson. So that would be, if your lesson's on a Wednesday, you're going to practice the next day, Thursday, the most important day. And then you're also going to make sure you practice Tuesday, right? The day before. That way, everything is fresh again. You've reviewed everything. You've gone through it all. You know where you're at. It's kind of like studying for the test, right? The test the next day. And so when you go to your next lesson, you're prepared. You're fresh. You're ready. It's not kind of dusting off the sheet music. Oh, yeah, I think I remember this from, last week, So the day before, the day after the lesson is the first most important day. The day before your lesson is the second most important day. You're also playing at your lesson too. That's 3 days of practice right there. And then pick at least one more day of the week to practice, okay? Practice sessions can be divided into smaller practice sessions throughout the day. So, for example, you could practice for 20 minutes and then later in the day for another 20 minutes. Or one longer session, like one session of 40 minutes. I generally don't think about minutes when practicing or guiding my students to practice. I'll give them a specific task to do, and the time takes care of itself. So practice this, practice this, practice this. And by the time you get through all of that, it should be about 20 minutes, or it should be about 30 minutes, or it should be about an hour. If you've gone through everything I've assigned in order, this is how long it will take, because music is timed out. It's time. And so it's kind of built in already. It'd be like telling somebody, oh, you've got 5 math problems to do. Just do your math homework for 10 minutes. It's like, well, what if you don't finish all the problems, right? Well, you're not going to get your homework done, and then you're going to get a bad grade. So you can't think of it that way. It's the same as like doing math problems. You do it until you get it done. The only difference being, of course, the music is timed out. So it's going to take you so long to play through this because of the nature of playing through the music. It actually takes time up. So, if you're thinking time-based, that's okay. There are some reasons for that. But I kind of am more task-based. Go through the practice session like we do in a lesson. The time takes care of itself. And that way you're not thinking about time all the time. You're thinking about what you're doing, what you're practicing, and focusing on the techniques that you really should be focusing on, so you develop good playing habits, and you're listening to what you're actually playing and not looking at the clock every 5 seconds to see when you're done, So these are some things to just think about. Of course, this is my sort of take on it. Teachers can expand on this or give their own opinions based on individual student needs and things like that. So this is a good thing to talk about with your teachers. And dive in, have a plan, have a practice plan, know what it is you're supposed to practice. There's warm-ups you need to do, technique you need to do. Don't just randomly play stuff. Come up with a practice routine. I do this with my trumpet students. We have, flutter and buzzing exercises we do, mouthpiece exercises. Then we get to the trumpet, we play long tones and lip slurs. That's our warm-up. We're getting ready to play, just like being in sports. You warm up your muscles, you stretch, you warm up your body, maybe run a lap, and now you're ready. You're focused, your brain is there, your body is there, everything is in alignment, so now you can focus on the music or on whatever it is that is next for you to achieve in your lesson or in your practice session. So keep this in mind. Again, sorry for my rant on this, but it is something very important that comes up a lot. If you need help or guidance, again, go to your teacher. You can also email me. I'd be happy to help you with some ideas. There's rewards ideas to help kind of get kids started and things like that. So consult with your teachers. But definitely, guys, you got to get on your instruments in order to make progress. You have to do it. Okay, moving on. RSL Levels. Here we are. This is a little chart of the different levels from Premier all the way through grade 8. And the way this works is based on your musical level, not grades in school, not specific ages. That stuff doesn't matter. In the UK, they use grade to represent levels, and so there may be some confusion there. So this is kind of showing how that's broken down. Premier, some instruments have a premier level, debut, and the estimated average student guided learning hours, that would be like lesson hours, instructional hours, would be 8. So if you take a 30-minute lesson once a week, it's going to be double 16, right? 16 weeks to get that full 8 hours, and in some cases, maybe even more. Because when you take a full hour lesson, there's a lot going on in that hour that it may take even more than just double to achieve over time. So the math isn't exact, but on average, that's what you have there. And in our Little School of Music achievement levels, that would be equivalent to our apprentice level 2. Moving on to the level 1 grades, that would include grade 1, 2, and 3, or levels 1, 2, 3, if you want to think of it that way. The guided learning hours are there updated, 12 hours for grade 1, 18 for grade 2 and 3. These are approximate, again, student average. It may take students less time if they practice more at home and are really excelling quickly. And it may take more time if they just need to review the concepts or the music, or something is, a little more challenging for them in some kind of way. These are just average numbers. Again, the equivalent levels for Little School of Music would be intermediate 1, 2, and 3 for level 1 grades. Then so on. Level 2 would be grades 4 and 5. Increased hours, because you have increased technique, you have increased challenge pieces. We're moving up. We're getting more advanced here. So it does require more instructional time to cover everything. New concepts are introduced, things like that. And then the level 3 grades would include 6 through 8. That would be like our advanced levels here at Little School of Music. So that's just a kind of a basic overview of what the learning hours look like, and, the commitment to the program. So it does get greater, a V shape, if you will, from, less time to more time as you go through the grades. And again, just to reiterate, the levels or grades are based on the specific music study level, not a school grade or your age. You could be 30 years old, starting to play the guitar. That'd be super awesome. And you'd be in the debut level. No problem. That's totally cool. Or you could be 9 years old, like the little guy we saw, in grade 5, 6. It just depends. What you put in is what you'll get out. And everyone has their own learning pace. There's no rush to get to the finish line. Take your time, but continue progressing. Your teachers can definitely help guide you here. For each specific student case, as far as, how long until I get through this level? That question comes up. So this is just an average estimated time frame here that you can shoot for. Purchase the book. Owning a copy of the printed book, digital book, or learning platform subscription is mandatory for participation in the program. These are available online at cloud.rslawards.com/shop. Printed books. Printed books are available online for purchase through Music Room. Books range from about $20 to $25, depending on the instrument and the level. They're priced in euros, so just so you know, it is right. When you get on there, if you're in the US and you see euros, you're thinking, whoa, wait a minute, am I in the right place? Yes, it's okay, you're good. The code on the inside cover of your book will allow you to access the music audio tracks. So once you receive your book in the mail, open up that front cover, you'll see the information there so you can access those. Digital books. Digital books are available for download through the RSL STORE. Music audio tracks are also included. This is pretty cool because you can just get this thing right now. You could literally go online, buy the book, and have it right there on your device in 2 seconds. So that's the fastest way to get all of the materials. Some people do like printed music rather than having a screen. So if that's you, you could also just print out the pages you need from that digital copy to have handy if you prefer the paper. Online learning platform. Access to all the books in the RSL library, guided at-home music practice software connected to your teacher, and access to all the audio tracks. For more information about the online learning platform, you can check out the information resources that are on the RSL website, and also some of these really handy-dandy videos that some other folks have made that are really helpful actually getting started and in what sequence. We'll take a look at that next. So get started videos. Shout out to Planet Drum. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for putting these amazing videos together. They're short, unlike this video. They're short and very easy to follow, step by step. Check these out. Start in this order, okay? It'll help you to set it up properly. Video 1 for the parents. You do need to create an account in order to link it to the teacher. You link it to the teacher. It doesn't go the other way around. So you have to get that annual subscription set up. There's the web address right there to the YouTube video on how to do that. Video 2 is for teachers. It's how to add exercises and songs to the learning platform. Video 3 is for teachers as well, how to set assignments for students. So when they log in, they'll know what they're supposed to be working on, and you can then monitor that practice assignment that you've given them on the platform. And then video 4 is for parents and students. It's how you complete the assignments that are set by your teacher. So once all of that's in place, what do I do? How do I navigate this thing and, complete these assignments? So here are those videos that you can access for that information. Exam fees. This is the cost to take the exam. Depending on the type of exam, there are different rates. So take a look here. These are for 2023. It is subject to change, so please refer to the website for the most current updated fee rates. So this all sounds good. We're ready to go. How do we sign up? First step, talk to your teacher. If you're interested in doing this and you want to get started, set that plan, and then they'll let you know when it's time to sign up. If you have further questions about the program, you can always check out the RSL website for more information. There's a lot of documentation there and articles that have been written. There's a search function that'll pull up some of those things. There's also a ton of YouTube videos that they've made and other people have made who have experience in the program. So poke around, explore, see if you can get those questions answered. And also talk with your teacher. Of course, we've been saying that this whole video. That's really the key. Talk to your teacher about what is the best situation for you and what you're trying to accomplish. And together you can create that plan, make the commitment, practice some more. When you're ready, sign up for that exam. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. And if you have any other tips or comments, or if you've been through the program and you have something to share with us, please reach out and let us know. We'd love to share with everyone so that we can make everyone's experience even better and educate everybody even further. This is a top-notch program, and we are so excited to offer this at Little School of Music, and we wish you all the best. Good luck.